So today
We are.
reviewing Top Gun Maverick.
So we just got back from watching Top Gun Maverick. It is Jake and I's first time watching it. It is Mom and Dad's second time watching it. Why don't we start with Mom? What were your initial thoughts of this movie? Or not initial thoughts. What are your overall thoughts of the movie since you've seen it twice?
I really enjoyed this movie. I loved the first one, and I thought this was a great movie.
Dad, what are your
No, it's
initial
definitely
thoughts?
a Memorial Day classic. Seeing it the second time, it was even better, and I thought it was pretty damn good the first time. Definitely a great movie in my book.
Jake, what were your initial thoughts since we just watched it for the first time?
It was definitely a really good movie. Walking out of the theater, I just saw Top Gun, the original, just probably an hour before watching this one for the first time. So my involvement of this movie wasn't as deep as theirs, seeing it when you guys were younger. But I still enjoyed the movie a lot, and there was a lot to like about it, especially being a movie that came out this weekend of Memorial Day.
Yeah, this was a really good movie. It's a really good Memorial Day movie because it is Memorial Day the day we're filming this. Hopefully the day that it's uploaded and you're watching it. Definitely a lot of positives, and we're going to get into the specific positives right now. What were your overall positives for the movie?
I liked the references to the first movie, so there were a lot of pieces that they sort of reenacted, but in 30 years later. And just the movie itself. There's action. It's exciting. It's a little bit heartwarming as well. So I enjoyed it.
What were your
No,
overall positives?
I totally agree. All positives for me, honestly, and not just because I'm an American. Definitely bleed the colors. I just think it's a great American movie that Tom Cruise, he echoes these things. He's just one of those actors. I don't know him personally, but I just know he makes a lot of really, really good movies, and he definitely put a lot of effort into this one that may be lacking over the last couple years that quite honestly I think our country needed. So I really enjoyed it, and again think it's a great movie.
Jake, what were your main positives of the film?
I think it did a much better job capturing just the aspect of these pilots flying in the air, and the battle sequence. The battle sequences were really good. The acting was great, and the scenery was pretty good. And like you said, the action, there's a lot in there, and I think they did a really good job of capturing just how hard it is to be a pilot. They did a good job of showing that.
The biggest positives for me is probably the sound effects. Obviously, they talk about how they actually fly the real planes. I don't know how much they're actually flying. I mean, the actors are flying the real planes for some scenes, but obviously there's no way they're actually almost hitting the mountains. So I don't know how they did that. All the shots, the visuals, the sound effects, and the battles in the air. I don't know if it's a spoiler to say there's battles in the air, but the overall battles and with the planes, the different kind of planes you see is all really cool, and obviously the acting is good all around. We want to go into negatives.
I don't really have a negative.
You have any negatives?
I don't think negatives.
No,
Any
no
negatives?
negatives for me. I honestly, again, I would say what Karen said, that it does a great job of becoming its own movie, so separated in years from when the first one was, which I thought the first one was good, but I think this one's better, and that's amazing to me after 30-some years of difference.
Jake, you have any negatives?
Yeah, I would agree. I think this one's a lot better than the first one. But for me, like the couple negatives I was thinking about, not really. The first one's not really negative. It's like I said, I'm not as invested in this universe. So as far as like the storyline, I didn't really know who the female character was, the love interest for Tom Cruise in this one, which is a little. It wasn't confusing, but I was trying to figure out who it was, and you and I were talking about that after the movie. That's more of like a storyline thing. And then for me, once I get into my score, I can really make my final point as to why it just barely misses a 10 for me.
Yeah, I don't have many negatives as well. I think the only negative, I mean, there's some times where it did feel like a long movie, and a lot of it flew by well. You did that? I didn't mean to do that. No pun intended. A lot of it, the movie was moving very fast. Like, the pace was really good. There was a couple points where maybe you could say it dragged, maybe a couple points, and then I agree that main female actress in the movie I for sure thought that she was in the first one, like the main love interest to Tom Cruise, but when I went back and watched, she somehow wasn't in it, and I also didn't understand. I knew she was a really big actress,
Yeah.
but I also didn't understand where she came into play, and it was a very minor point in the
Right.
first one that I was told about, but I wouldn't have been able to figure that out by myself. So
Yeah, I mean, do we need to explain that, or?
I
Why we're
didn't
gonna
I
have
didn't
that in
remember
there?
that.
No,
It's
because
a negative.
well, maybe, but not to me. Knew the reference, what it was, and I thought it
Well,
was
I
pretty
did.
good.
Yeah, I think
So-
true, like Top Gun
Yeah,
people
people that
who
followed
were
it.
around 30 years
Right.
ago and watched it knew the reference of who she was.
Yeah, well,
Yeah, we did. You know,
That's the difference
agree
in
with
the
that.
generation.
I literally just watched the movie the other day. It's the fact that I didn't know,
Yeah.
watching it a day later, it's still.
Yeah,
it's
'cause I'll say
negative.
for me,
So-
yeah, I was trying to pick, like, picture if that was the girl. Because obviously at the end they had the callback to when I thought they were gonna have someone. I thought they were gonna Tom Cruise like start a song and then she was gonna walk in and like basically that's not.
Yeah.
Again, that's what you go for the movie for. It delivers and then some. Because for me, I thought the movie was gonna end. Then there was like another probably 20 minutes of action that I didn't
Yeah.
expect, like on ground stuff that I didn't expect, and then other things after that that was definitely made it really really good. And it definitely sends you off on a positive note.
So, all right, Mom, what were your final thoughts and score of this movie?
Well, my final thoughts were, first of all, I haven't, a frame of reference, I haven't been to a movie since pre-COVID, so I just love when the jets were flying, like the seats would shake, and just the very beginning of the movie when that song, it's like the gong, and it's the same song as in the first movie, and just seeing it on the big screen, so I just was blown away. My score is, do I do my score?
Yeah.
Is a 9.5 out of 10. Because I don't really
See you
give
at
10s.
negatives?
I didn't have a negative. I just don't normally give 10s, but 9.5.
It's a solid movie.
So, what was your score?
Well, definitely for me, it's going to be pretty much a 10, but I'm going to say 9.5 to a 10.
Like, you gotta
I'm
pick a
going to
score.
land on 10.
Yeah,
I hate doing that. I don't like to throw around 10s too much.
you said
but
there's
I-
no negatives,
but
so
I think Karen's right. I think also too, because quite honestly, the movies have lacked over the last 2 to 3 years. You're seeing the same previews over and over again. There's been some decent movies out, but this has been the first one for me, basically since COVID hit. And I went into it with high expectations, and quite honestly, this movie kind of met that. And so I definitely, again, I thank Tom Cruise for making this movie.
my God, you want to ask him out? So, Jake, what were your final thoughts and score?
Yeah, like I said, there was really the one negative that I had. I can't really even talk about until we get into the spoilers. But there's just one little thing that kind of it makes the movie great, but it also takes away just a very tiny bit for me, which, like I said, just keeps me just a little bit away from the 10. So, but I walked away loving a lot about it, great action, and I have to go with a 9.5 out of 10.
Yeah, I'd have to land on the same score of 9.5 because there were excellent action scenes. I mean, really exciting, and I still didn't know what was going to happen. There were multiple times where I thought something was going to happen, and it didn't. It went another way. And the fact that someone told me this movie was really predictable, but I disagree with that because I totally did not know what was going to happen. I mean, you have a general idea of what might happen in the movie at certain points, but I didn't know who was going to die, who was going to make it, what was going to happen. And there's really exciting scenes, really good sound effects and visuals, and really cool shots. And a 9.5 is where I'm going to stick at because I said I had a couple of negatives, but for the most part, it was good.
Just out of respect to also being Memorial Day and what this is supposed to be all about in reference to our military and the respect of what they do. I mean, it's amazing. What those planes can do and what those guys do in them, and then obviously what they put themselves on the line for. It just have all the respect in the world for them and our country.
This is a good Memorial Day review. We are filming on Memorial Day. Hopefully it gets uploaded on the same day. You want to wrap it up?
Yep, that was our non-spoiler review of Top Gun Maverick. Let us know in the comments what you think about the movie. Supposedly, from what I saw, it's making a lot of money, which is perfect time for this movie to drop. There's always movies that drop at good times. Like holiday weekends are usually the best time to drop big ones like this, especially when it actually relates to the actual holiday.
It's packed in our theater.
So yeah, definitely packed in our theater. Good movie, really good movie, and definitely would recommend it for you to go see.
And here's Grandma's review.
What score out of 10 would you give Maverick?
I'll give it an 8. I
Thank
liked
you.
it.
Good,
I really
good.
liked it.
You're okay. You're okay. We didn't get a score from Howie. We'll figure that one out and do that as a spoiler.
His picture will be right here with his score.
How about Megan?
And we didn't get Megan's score either.
There is either. Hers will be right here too with her score.
She said it was good.
And here's Marley's score right here.
Here's Marley's.
Yep, so thanks for watching our non-spoiler review of Top Gun Maverick. We'll see you guys in the next video. Bye, guys.
So today,
We are.
Reviewing
Maverick.
it's Top Gun
It's
Maverick.
Top
Top
Gun
Gun.
Okay.
All right, start over.